The starship Aurora's path drifted through the quiet stretch of the Zilari frontier, carrying humans, scientists, explorers, and a few alien diplomats who traveled under a fragile peace treaty. Among them was a young human engineer named Aaron Hale, a man who rarely caused trouble and preferred to stay in engine rooms instead of political halls. He lived a quiet life on the ship. But everything changed after the day he rescued a wounded alien warrior from a collapsed mining tunnel. The alien woman's name was Lyra. She belonged to the Cathari species, a tall and graceful people known for their glowing markings and strong honor codes. Most humans felt nervous around them because their officials often looked strict and unreadable. But Lyra wasn't like that. She had soft eyes, a calm voice, and a gentle curiosity about humans that often made her forget her own formal manners. Aaron met her only because he was working on repairs deep in the mining colony's shaft when an explosion shook the ground. Dust filled the air, beams crashed down, and energy lines sparked. Aaron could have fled, but he heard a faint call for help. Moving toward the broken corridor, he found Lyra trapped under a beam twice her weight. Her markings flickered weakly, showing she was injured and exhausted. He used all his strength, every tool he carried, and even risked getting crushed just to free her. When he finally lifted the beam enough for her to crawl out, she didn't run, she pulled him out with her, protecting him from falling debris, even as she bled from her arm. Since that day, something changed between them. In Cathari culture, saving a life in such a way was not a small act. It created a rare emotional tie known as a soul mark. Humans didn't have an equivalent word. The closest translation was bond. For humans, it sounded like friendship. But for Cathari, it was much deeper. It meant that two lives were connected by trust, gratitude, and instinct. Aaron didn't know all this at first. He only noticed that Lyra came to see him more often. She visited the engineering deck to ask about human tools, and watched him repair engines with quiet fascination. She brought him rare fruit from her homeworld, and tried to teach him how to pronounce her people's ancient phrases. He didn't understand why she always stood protectively near him in public spaces, or why other Cathari guards bowed politely to her whenever she walked with him. He just felt comfortable around her, and she felt safe with him, as if something invisible pulled them closer. But the rumors began long before Aaron realized what was happening. Crew members whispered that a human had bonded with a Cathari warrior. Diplomats exchanged looks in the meeting chambers. Cathari envoys spoke in hushed voices, wondering if the signs were real. And finally, one of Lyra's own commanders approached her privately, asking why her markings brightened whenever the human engineer entered the room. Lyra denied nothing because to deny a bond was seen as disrespectful. But she also knew she needed to speak to her queen before the rumors grew into political storms. That day arrived sooner than expected. Queen Syraxis of the Cathari Dominion came aboard the ship for a diplomatic inspection. She was intimidating, tall even among her own kind, and her markings glowed like polished silver. Her presence filled the halls with a quiet authority that even human captains respected. Her gaze was sharp, and she saw everything, every detail, every expression, every movement. She had heard the rumors, of course, and she had heard Lyra's name attached to them. But she wanted to see the truth with her own eyes. Aaron didn't expect their first meeting to happen in a grand hall filled with diplomats and soldiers. He had simply come to fix a damaged stabilizer panel near the entrance when the doors slid open and the queen entered with her entourage. Immediately, the atmosphere changed. Everyone stood straight. Some bowed. Some stepped aside. Aaron remained where he was, unsure if he should salute, kneel, or simply continue working. Lyra walked slightly behind the queen, looking calm but alert. When she saw Aaron, her markings lit up, a gentle ripple of silver and blue. Aaron blinked in surprise. He had never seen them shine like that before. Lyra's expression softened for a moment, but she quickly straightened her posture again. The queen's eyes followed Lyra's gaze and landed directly on Aaron. The hall fell silent. Queen Syraxis stepped toward him slowly, her footsteps confident and unhurried. The guards behind her watched closely. The human diplomats exchanged nervous glances. Even Aaron felt something tighten in his chest. He wiped the grease from his hands and stood still, trying not to look too frightened. When the queen stopped in front of him, she studied him for a long moment. Her eyes were piercing, yet thoughtful, as if she were analyzing the air around him as much as the man himself. Lyra stood at her right, tense but ready. Then the queen spoke, her voice calm but heavy with meaning. "So the rumors are true. You've truly bonded with the human," she said gravely. The hall seemed to freeze. Aaron stared at her, confused. He had heard the rumors but never understood them. The word bonded sounded important, but he didn't know what it meant in their culture. Lyra took a small breath, unable to hide her concern. "Your Majesty," Lyra said softly. "I did not hide it. I simply awaited your arrival before making anything official." Queen Syraxis turned slightly toward her but kept her eyes mostly on Aaron. "Is this human aware of the significance?" she asked. Lyra hesitated. Aaron felt a weight in his stomach. Whatever this was, it was serious. "Not fully," Lyra admitted. "I have explained some things, but humans do not experience the bond as our people do. His instinct feels it, but his mind does not yet understand." The queen nodded slowly, thoughtful. Aaron finally gathered his courage. "Your Majesty, I don't mean any disrespect, but I really don't know what this bond means. I only helped Lyra because she needed help. That's all." His honesty seemed to surprise the queen. Her stern expression softened just slightly, as if she found something sincere in him. "You risked your life for her," the queen said, "and she risked hers for you. Such actions weave a thread between souls. In our culture, this is not a casual matter. It shapes the paths of families. It influences alliances. It creates ties stronger than formal treaties." Aaron swallowed hard. He hadn't expected anything like that. Lyra stepped closer, her voice gentle. "Aaron, when you saved me, you became part of my life in a way I cannot ignore. The bond cannot be forced, and it cannot be undone by choice. It grows only when both hearts trust each other." Aaron felt something warm in his chest. He remembered the day he saved her, the dust falling, her pained breathing, her hand pulling him to safety. He remembered the quiet moments afterward, sharing food, laughing over his failed attempts at her language, walking through the ship corridors side by side. He hadn't known it meant so much culturally, but emotionally, it felt natural. Queen Syraxis watched his face carefully. "Do you feel fear?" she asked. Aaron shook his head. "No, just surprised. A little overwhelmed, but not afraid." Lyra's markings glowed softly at his answer. The queen nodded again, this time slower. "Then the bond is genuine," she said. "It is not manipulation, not confusion. It is mutual." She turned to her guards and diplomats. "Leave us." Everyone obeyed quickly. Now only the queen, Lyra, and Aaron remained in the hall. The queen lowered her voice slightly. "Human, this bond places responsibilities on you. Lyra is a warrior of high standing. Her safety, honor, and emotional well-being are now tied to yours, and your actions reflect upon her." Aaron nodded quietly. "I understand. And you," the queen said, turning to Lyra, "must guide him. Teach him. Protect him when needed. Your instincts have already chosen him, but instinct alone is not enough. You must help him understand your world." Lyra bowed her head respectfully. The queen looked between the two of them with a thoughtful expression, not angry, not pleased, merely acknowledging something bigger than both of them. "This bond may change the future," she said softly, "for our people, and perhaps for the galaxy." And with that, she stepped back, giving space between them, as if symbolizing acceptance. Aaron turned to Lyra. Her eyes held relief, hope, and something warm he couldn't name. She smiled gently, and the glow of her markings filled the quiet room with a soft light. For the first time, Aaron wondered if this bond might not be a burden at all, but the beginning of something he had never imagined. Aaron walked beside Lyra, through the long hallway leading away from the grand hall, still trying to understand everything that had happened. His mind replayed the Queen's words again and again. A bond. A connection strong enough to alter political relationships. A responsibility he hadn't asked for, but also didn't want to run from. Lyra walked calmly, but her glowing markings showed she was more emotional than she let on. They looked brighter than they had ever been. She glanced at him gently. "I know this is strange for you." "That's an understatement," Aaron said. "I feel like I stepped into a world I didn't know existed." "You did," she replied softly. "But you weren't dragged. You walked in. Willingly. When you saved me." He stopped walking for a moment. "Lyra, did you know this would happen? After the rescue?" She paused too, turning toward him. Her eyes shimmered with honesty. "I knew my instincts reacted strongly. But I didn't know if yours would answer. Humans are different. Bonds form differently for you. I wanted you to choose your own steps." Aaron appreciated her words. She wasn't demanding anything. She wasn't expecting him to change overnight. She only wanted him to understand. He took a slow breath. "I don't regret saving you. I don't regret any time we spent after that either." Her smile warmed like sunlight. "Then you are not walking the wrong path." They resumed walking, but before they reached the elevator, a human captain hurried toward them. Captain Rourke, the stern man responsible for maintaining balance between all diplomatic groups on board. He looked anxious, holding his datapad tightly. "Engineer Hale," Rourke said with a troubled tone, "I need you in the conference chamber. Immediately." Aaron blinked. "Now? Why?" "Because whatever happened between you, the Queen, and warrior Lyra has already reached both command decks," Rourke said. "The crew wants answers. The Cathari want clarification. And the ambassadors are worried we're about to break 10 diplomatic rules at once." Aaron felt his stomach twist. Lyra placed a reassuring hand near his shoulder, not touching him directly, but standing protectively close. "I will come with him," Lyra said firmly. Rourke hesitated. "This meeting is human-led, and the subject is Cathari-led," she replied calmly. "You cannot discuss a bond without us." Rourke looked torn, but finally nodded. "Fine. But keep things calm. We don't need this blowing up." They followed him into the conference chamber. Inside, a long table stretched across the room. Human officers sat on one side, Cathari delegates on the other. Everyone looked tense. Whispers spread quickly the moment Aaron and Lyra entered. Some humans looked at Aaron like he carried something dangerous or sacred. Some Cathari looked at Lyra with curiosity or quiet pride. A few glanced at Aaron with respect, surprised that a simple engineer had formed a bond with one of their warriors. The chief ambassador, a composed woman named Marin, stood up. "Engineer Hale, warrior Lyra, thank you for coming quickly. Please sit." Aaron sat carefully. Lyra sat beside him, her posture confident and unshaken. Marin clasped her hands on the table. "We need clarity. Queen Syraxis confirmed that a bond exists between you two. From the Cathari perspective, this is deeply significant. But humans are unfamiliar with the cultural weight of such a bond. We want to ensure this does not cause diplomatic misunderstandings." A Cathari diplomat nodded. "Our laws honor these ties, but they alter expectations. If a bond is recognized officially, it affects alliances, security decisions, and personal rights. Humans rarely form such ties with our people, so this situation is unique." Aaron leaned forward slightly. "I'm not trying to cause trouble. I didn't even know what the bond meant until a few minutes ago. One of the human officers sighed. Yeah, that's the complicated part. Lyra spoke calmly. He acted from compassion. The bond formed naturally. It cannot be undone by force, and should not be feared. It is built on trust. Another Cathari diplomat added, Our concern is not fear. It is the future. A warrior bonded to a human means shared instinct. She may act to defend him in ways that conflict with human protocols. Captain Rourke rubbed his forehead. Which means, if Aaron gets into danger, real or imagined, you might react before the human security team does. And that could cause conflicts. Lyra didn't deny it. Yes. The bond shapes instinct. If his life is threatened, my actions will follow without thought. Aaron felt a sudden realization. This wasn't just emotional or symbolic. It was biological for her, deep in her instincts. He turned to her gently. Does that scare you? She shook her head. Not at all. But I worry how humans will respond. You are not comfortable when someone protects you too strongly. Aaron gave a small, soft laugh. I think I'm learning. The human ambassador smiled faintly. This situation is unusual, but not negative. We just want cooperation. Warrior Lyra, would you be willing to explain the bond's nature in simple terms for the humans present? Lyra nodded gracefully. She turned slightly so she spoke to the entire room. When a Cathari life is saved in a way that touches the spirit, a connection forms. It is not romantic by default, she said gently, glancing meaningfully at Aaron, so he wouldn't misunderstand. It is a deep trust, a sense of unity. We become linked in instinct, emotion, and life path. We are drawn to protect each other. Aaron listened quietly, noticing how her voice softened at the last sentence. Lyra continued. Some bonds grow into families. Some become lifelong friendships. Some remain as mutual respect. But all are honored. The Cathari diplomat added, and the more time the bonded pair spends together, the stronger the instinct becomes. Their emotions can influence each other's responses. One human officer frowned. Are you saying if Aaron feels scared, she might react aggressively? 17 Roundern sighed. Reluted on lime. 17 Roundern sighed. 17 Roundern sighed. Lyra shook her head. Not aggressively. Defensively. I react to danger. Not emotion. But if he is in harm's way, I will act before thinking. Aaron raised his hand slightly. For the record, I'm not planning to get into danger. Captain Rourke muttered. On this ship, danger tends to find people. After an hour of discussion, the diplomats agreed the bond wasn't a threat as long as both parties communicated openly. They proposed setting guidelines to prevent misunderstandings, clear ways to alert Lyra when Aaron was in a secure zone, and clear ways for humans to inform her if he needed help. The meeting ended with handshakes and relieved expressions. When Aaron and Lyra finally stepped out of the conference room, they both exhaled deeply. That was intense, Aaron said. You handled it well, Lyra replied. You spoke honestly. That means more than you know. They walked slowly toward the observation deck, where large windows showed the distant stars drifting by. Aaron leaned against the railing, looking at the endless black sky filled with shimmering points of light. Lyra. When the Queen said the bond might shape the galaxy's future, was she serious? Lyra joined him at the railing. Cathari leaders never speak lightly. A bond between species is rare. It can change alliances. It shows trust and unity instead of fear. Aaron absorbed her words quietly. Do you feel that way? He asked softly. She turned to him and placed her hand near his, close enough that he could feel her warmth. Her markings glowed faintly. A gentle pulse. Yes, she whispered. It matters to me. Aaron looked into her eyes and felt something shift inside him. Not fear. Not pressure. Something warm, Steady. Real. Something that had begun the day he lifted a heavy beam inside a collapsing mine and found a wounded warrior who somehow trusted him instantly. Suddenly the ship shook slightly as if turbulence passed by. The lights flickered. Aaron straightened. That felt unusual, he said. Lyra sensed it too. Her eyes narrowed. We should check the control deck. They hurried to the ship's main monitoring room. Officers worked quickly at their screens, looking worried. Captain Rourke noticed them and walked over. We detected something, he said. A strange energy reading near the edge of the Zilari frontier. Aaron stepped closer to the display. Is it a ship? We don't know, Rourke answered. But it's moving fast. Too fast for normal engines. And it's not communicating. One of the Cathari guards standing nearby stiffened. That energy signature. It resembles ancient Cathari technology. But our people abandoned those types of engines centuries ago. Aaron frowned. So, it's something old, but still active? Lyra touched the console lightly. Or someone found an old machine and restarted it. Our ancient war engines were unpredictable. Even dangerous. A sudden alarm blared, making everyone jump. The energy reading surged. Captain Rourke swore under his breath. It's heading straight toward us. Aaron felt the tension in the room tighten. Officers began preparing shields. Engineers rushed to reinforce power lines. The Cathari guards took defensive positions. Lyra's instinct activated instantly. She moved closer to Aaron, without thinking, placing herself between him and any potential danger. Aaron noticed. Lyra, I'm okay. She kept her eyes on the screens, protective and alert. And I will make sure you stay that way. He didn't argue. Something about the moment felt too serious to push away her instinct. Seconds later, the sensors updated again. The object changed direction at the last moment, but not to retreat. It was circling the Aurora's path, scanning it in broad sweeps. Captain Rourke stared at the data. It's not attacking, but it's watching us. Lyra looked tense. This is not good. Ancient machines do not watch. They follow old commands. Aaron looked at her. Her markings dimmed slightly in worry, like searching for enemies. Aaron felt cold inside. Are we listed as enemies? A deep silence filled the room. Then the ship shook again. A voice from the sensor deck shouted, It's charging something. Aaron's heart raced. We need to move the ship. Captain Rourke turned to the pilot. Evasive pattern. But the ancient engine reacted faster. Its energy burst struck near the hull, not a direct attack, but a warning. Sparks flew. Consoles flickered. The ship trembled violently. Lyra grabbed Aaron and steadied him as the floor jolted. He grabbed the railing but felt safer with her nearby. We need to disable it, Aaron said. But how? Lyra looked at him with a determined expression he had only seen once before the day he freed her from the debris. You and I will find a way, she said. Together. And for the first time, the bond between them didn't feel overwhelming or confusing. It felt necessary. It felt right. It felt like the beginning of a fight only they could face. The ship's alarms echoed through every hallway, warning all crew members that the strange ancient machine was still circling the Aurora's path. Its movements were sharp, cold, and too precise to be controlled by any living pilot. It twisted through space like a ghost of an old war, following commands written long before humans and Cathari ever spoke to each other. Every time it passed the ship, the hull trembled, like metal shivering in fear. Aaron and Lyra stood together near the forward control deck. Officers rushed around them, voices rising with urgency. Sparks jumped from an overloaded console, and Aaron stepped forward automatically to fix it. But Lyra grabbed his arm gently. Not now, she said. Your safety first. He didn't argue, because the way the ship shook beneath them made it clear that danger could strike any time. The bond between them hummed faintly in the air, a feeling Aaron didn't fully understand but could sense deep inside. Whenever Lyra grew tense, His own heart accelerated. Whenever he steadied himself, her breathing calmed a little. Captain Rourke stepped toward them, his face tight with worry. Engineer Hale. Warrior Lyra. We need your help. This machine, it's responding to something. And we think that something is Cathari. Aaron frowned. Cathari as in Lyra? Yes, Rourke said. According to our scans, its sensors activate more strongly when it passes her. We think it recognizes her species. Lyra stepped forward. If it recognizes me, then it may also listen. But only if it was programmed to do so. The Cathari diplomat nearby spoke quietly. Those machines were created during the Old Wars. Their purpose was to defend our borders from ancient enemies. They scanned life signatures and attacked without hesitation. They were never meant to be reasoned with. Aaron looked from one alien to another. You're saying it will attack Lyra? Lyra's eyes softened. Not me. The ones it was programmed to hate. If it sees humans as the enemy, then we are all in danger. The ship jolted again as the ancient machine flew close, its engines roaring like a thunderstorm. A beam of scanning light swept across the ship's side, and several screens went black. Aaron steadied himself. We need to know why it's circling us. What is it searching for? A technician answered quickly. We think it's reading our identification signals. It doesn't recognize them. It keeps scanning for something that no longer exists. That's why it looks confused. Mar. Lyra stepped closer to the main display. Show me the energy signature. I want to see the pattern. When the screen lit up with the strange swirling lines of ancient code, Lyra's eyes widened slightly. Aaron noticed the color of her markings shift, a sign that her instincts were awakening. This, she whispered, this is from the old sanctuary protocol, a system used by ancient guardians. Aaron looked at her. Guardians? Yes, she said. Warriors trained to protect temples, colonies, and newborn star seeds. They controlled war machines like this. Each machine was given a primary bonded warrior, someone it would obey above all others. Captain Rourke straightened. Are you saying you might be able to override it? Lyra hesitated. Maybe, but only if my energy signature is similar to the ancient guardians. And even then, the machine may reject me. Aaron felt a knot in his chest. And if it rejects you, what happens? Lyra looked at him gently. It will target the closest threat. And that threat is everything near it. Aaron shook his head. We can't risk that. But Lyra stepped closer and touched his arm lightly. The bond tells me it's the right path. I trust it. And I trust you. He swallowed. I'm not a warrior. I don't know how to help. You already helped, she said softly. My instincts are calmer with you near. My focus is sharper. If you stand beside me, I can do this. Captain Rourke sighed deeply. We're running out of options. If that machine decides we're hostile, we don't stand a chance. Lyra, if you believe you can reach it, we'll support you. Quote. Lyra nodded firmly. Prepare a shuttle. I need to get close, without threatening it. Aaron blinked. Wait, you're going outside the ship? Yes, she said. The machine is too old to read ship signals clearly. But it can sense life. If I get close, it will feel my presence. Aaron stepped closer. Then I'm coming with you. Lyra turned toward him quickly. No, it's too dangerous. He met her gaze without blinking. You said the bond helps you focus. You said my presence calms your instincts. I'm not leaving you alone out there. Please. She hesitated, torn between instinct and logic. Her markings shimmered softly, showing her internal conflict. Finally, she exhaled and nodded once. Then, stay close. Don't drift. Don't panic. I won't, he said quietly. Minutes later, the shuttle prepared for launch. Aaron adjusted the straps of his light suit while Lyra checked her equipment. The inside of the shuttle was dim, lit only by soft blue lights. Through the small window, Aaron could see the ancient machine gliding outside like a silent predator. When the engines fired, the shuttle drifted slowly into space. Aaron looked at Lyra in the co-pilot seat. "Do you feel anything? Like a pull?" Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, sensing the air. "Yes. It's like a whisper, calling for an identity. It remembers." The shuttle drifted closer until the ancient machine filled the entire view, black metal plates, glowing red lines, and a central eye-like sensor that pulsed with unnatural energy. It hummed like a heartbeat, waiting, watching. Lyra stood up slowly inside the shuttle. "Open the outer hatch." Aaron hesitated. "You're going out there?" "Yes," she said. "The signal must be direct." Aaron opened the hatch controls. Air hissed out. The cold of space pressed against the thin barrier of their suits. Lyra stepped toward the open hatch, gripping the handle as she faced the machine floating only a few dozen meters away. Aaron followed her, stopping right behind. Lyra lifted her arm, her markings glowing brightly. A soft, shimmering aura surrounded her, as if responding to the machine's presence. The ancient machine changed position instantly. Its main eye focused on her. Energy readings spiked. Aaron tensed. "It's reacting." "I know," Lyra said calmly. The machine emitted a low mechanical sound, something between a growl and a language Aaron didn't recognize. Lyra stepped forward slightly, her energy aura growing brighter. She spoke in her own ancient tongue, a set of deep harmonic sounds Aaron had never heard from her before. Her voice carried power, authority, and calm strength. The machine froze in place, its sensors flickering. "It's listening," Aaron whispered. Lyra continued speaking, her tone steady, commanding. She extended her palm outward. The machine moved closer slowly, carefully like a wild animal testing a gentle hand. But then, something unexpected happened. A burst of red light shot from its side, striking a distant asteroid. The explosion echoed through space. Aaron flinched. "It's unstable." Lyra forced her markings to glow even brighter. Her breathing grew heavier. Sweat beaded on her forehead. "It doesn't trust fully," she said. "It recognizes guardians, but it senses humans nearby." Her gaze shifted to Aaron. "And its old programming sees them as danger." Aaron felt the cold realization settle over him. "Because the ancient Cathari fought humans?" Lyra nodded painfully. "Long before peace. The machine knows only the old war." Aaron stepped forward, surprising her. "Then, let it see something new." He reached out and placed his hand gently on Lyra's back, right over the glowing markings that connected them. The bond pulsed softly, like two heartbeats syncing. The machine's eye changed color from red to purple. It scanned Aaron, but not with hostility, with confusion. Then, curiosity. Lyra gasped softly. "It recognizes the bond. It sees you as linked to me. You are not a threat to it. You are part of its guardian's presence." Aaron kept his hand steady. "Good. Tell it we're not enemies." Lyra spoke again in her ancient language, this time with more confidence. The machine shuddered, its lines flickering with fading red. Then, it powered down its weapons. Everyone watching from the ship cheered, though Aaron and Lyra couldn't hear them. They were too focused on the machine. As it slowly transformed, panels opened, energy lines dimmed. The machine lowered itself, bowing slightly in recognition. Lyra lowered her hand slowly. "It accepts us." Aaron let out a long breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. That was unbelievable. The machine floated to the side and hovered peacefully, no longer circling aggressively. Lyra turned to Aaron. Her markings glowed warmly now, soft and full of emotion. "You helped me. I could not have done this alone." He smiled gently. "We're bonded, right? That means we face everything together." She looked at him with eyes that felt older than the stars. "Yes, Together. Thank you for watching. See information. 5 Liwat. The reported. They returned to the ship as heroes. Diplomats celebrated. Officers shook Aaron's hand. Kethari warriors bowed respectfully to Lyra. Even Captain Rourke smiled, though only a little. Later, in the quiet of the observation room, Aaron and Lyra stood side by side again, watching the ancient machine hover outside peacefully, like a silent guardian finally awakened for a new purpose. Lyra spoke softly. The bond changed everything today. Aaron nodded slowly. It might change more than today. She smiled, her markings glowing like living starlight. And in that silent moment, they both understood something simple, yet powerful. The galaxy wasn't shaped only by wars, treaties, or leaders. Sometimes, it was shaped by two people who pulled each other from falling debris, trusted each other without fear, and refused to let old hatred decide the future.